In June 2026, a quiet change occurred inside the engineering offices of Coinbase. The company quietly switched its default coding AI away from expensive American models. Instead, developers began routing their work to a free, downloadable Chinese model. This single decision cut the tech firm's internal artificial intelligence spending in half. Yet, the actual volume of work completed by their engineers continued to climb. For 2 years, Silicon Valley insisted that raw intelligence would remain incredibly scarce. They built a business model based entirely on renting access to elite systems. They believed a handful of highly capitalized American companies would control the market, but over 18 months, that entire multi-billion-dollar assumption has completely collapsed. A wave of open-weight models from China has closed the intelligence gap. This shift reached a turning point on July 16, 2026. A young Beijing-based startup called Moonshot AI announced its new flagship model, founded in 2023 by prominent scientist Yang Zhilin. The company raised a landmark $1 billion in February 2024. That funding round was led by Chinese tech giants Alibaba and Tencent. They followed this with a $500 million Series C in December. By May 2026, the company's valuation hit $20 billion. Their annual recurring revenue doubled in 6 weeks during early 2026. It jumped from $100 million in March to $200 million in April. This rapid growth set the stage for their next major release. Known as Kimi K3, the model contains 2.8 trillion parameters. It is the first open-weight model to enter the 3 trillion parameter class. In blind testing on the front-end code arena, the results shocked observers. Kimi K3 beat both Claude Fable 5 and GPT 5.6 Sol. These were the reigning, heavily guarded crowns of the American tech industry. Even more disruptive is how the Chinese startup planned to distribute this power. The company announced the full weights would be publicly available on July 27th. Anyone in the world can download these weights and run them locally. This completely bypasses the subscription systems and paywalls built by American labs. But training these giant models is pushing domestic computing limits inside China. During the week of July 19th, demand for the model surged. Moonshot was forced to temporarily suspend new subscriptions to Kimi K3. This pause highlighted the intense resource constraints faced by Chinese startups. Yet, their ability to deliver world-class performance on constrained hardware remains undisputed. It means the absolute peak of machine reasoning is now essentially a commodity. The creators of these engines can no longer charge a premium for access. And this reality is triggering a growing corporate revolt against soaring technology bills. Enterprises are realizing they no longer need to pay rent for basic intelligence. To understand the economic pressure, look at the financial performance of Zhipu AI. Also known as Z.AI, this company went public in Hong Kong. The company was founded to commercialize research from Tsinghua University. In September 2023, Alibaba invested 1.2 billion yuan. This early cash injection sparked an AI investment race across China. By the time they listed, they were leading the open-weight movement. On January 8th, 2026, their initial public offering raised $558 million. Then, in June, they released a powerful model called GLM 5.2. Unlike American proprietary software, this model was released under a permissive MIT license. It allowed any developer to download, modify, and host the code themselves. The market response to this open-source release was immediate and intense. Zhipu's stock surged 1,700% following its initial public offering. On July 8th, the firm executed a $4 billion follow-on share placement. This pushed the young startup's valuation past $128 billion. They achieved this valuation despite losing $650 million in 2025. They spent that money on aggressive research and development to catch Silicon Valley. And they did so by making raw intelligence almost unbelievably cheap. Compare the direct costs of running these different systems. Anthropic charges $5 per million input tokens for its Claude Opus model. They charge $25 for every million output tokens produced. Meanwhile, Zhipu charges just $1.40 for input tokens. They charge $4.40 for a million output tokens. That is a 5-fold difference in price for virtually the same performance. For a global enterprise processing billions of tokens daily, that math is brutal. It makes paying for closed-source models look like a terrible business decision. This is exactly what Coinbase discovered when they analyzed their developer platforms. Coinbase engineers transitioned their primary routing to GLM 5.2. They also integrated an older Moonshot model called Kimi 2.7. They built an internal system that routes tasks to the cheapest capable model. At the same time, they optimized their local systems to cache common queries. Their cache hit rates skyrocketed from 5% to 60%. According to statements from platform head Rob Whittoff, the financial savings were instant. Coinbase cut its total internal artificial intelligence spend by nearly 50%. They achieved this cost reduction even as their overall token use exploded. This corporate cost-cutting confirms a theory proposed by Palantir CEO Alex Karp. In February 2026, Karp formally outlined what he called commodity cognition. He argued that raw intelligence would inevitably become a low-margin commodity. According to Karp, the actual models are all rapidly converging in quality. The real economic value is moving away from the creators of these models. Instead, the money goes to whoever owns the operational layer of the business. In July, Karp went on television and delivered a combative live interview. He called the pricing models of proprietary artificial intelligence labs utterly insane. He claimed that American chief executives were livid about being overcharged for tokens. He described these fees as a wealth tax on the American business community. This explains why Palantir is focusing its energy on its own integration platform. They are building the workflow middleware rather than training their own models. Their chief technology officer, Shyam Sankar, has championed a similar philosophy. Sankar refers to this operational focus as creating a no-slop zone. He argues that cheap raw tokens do not automatically translate to useful work. Without a structured database or custom ontology, cheap models simply produce noise. But once that operational layer is built, the underlying model is interchangeable. An enterprise can swap out a costly American API for a free Chinese download. They can do this in minutes without disrupting their actual business operations. This reality has destroyed the competitive moat once enjoyed by proprietary frontier labs. This transition has also exposed a profound gap in American foreign policy. For years, Washington has used strict export controls to isolate Chinese tech firms. The government attempted to block Chinese startups from purchasing advanced microchips. Yet, Chinese engineers quickly found highly sophisticated ways to bypass these limits. They turned to clever software workarounds and highly optimized training techniques. A prominent method they utilized is a process known as model distillation. Chinese startups trained their domestic models on the outputs of advanced American systems. Essentially, they used OpenAI's own intelligence to train their cheaper rivals. They also introduced architectural innovations to maximize the efficiency of restricted hardware. Moonshot's Kimi K3 utilizes a unique attention residual framework. This mathematical adjustment dramatically lowers the compute needed to process long documents. By optimizing every layer, they built elite models on consumer-grade hardware. And because these models are open-weight, they present a unique enforcement problem. Under American law, hosting open-source model weights is protected as free speech. A Brookings Institution legal analysis confirmed these constitutional protections in court. The State Department recently issued a corporate advisory highlighting potential security risks. But once a company downloads these model weights, they run on-premise. They do not send data back to servers located in Beijing. This means regulators cannot easily stop American companies from using them. It is a global distribution network that Washington has no power to recall. The technology is out in the wild, and it is completely free. This has created an existential crisis for the business models of Western labs. They spent tens of billions of dollars building vast computing clusters. They assumed clients would pay premium subscription fees to access their servers. Instead, they find themselves competing with high-quality, free alternatives. This has caused a dramatic shift in how enterprise compute is routed. In April, open-weight models accounted for 11% of global enterprise tokens. By June, that number had surged to 29% of all traffic. Yet, because these models are free or cheap, they captured little revenue. Open-weight models took only 4% of total enterprise artificial intelligence spending. They are doing nearly a third of the work for almost none of the money. This imbalance is destroying the profit margins of the proprietary developers, and it is forcing a realignment across the entire technology sector. The expensive, guarded frontier of artificial intelligence has officially evaporated. But the real victims of this shift are not just the venture capitalists. The true cost of free machine intelligence will be paid by human workers. Historically, new technology increased the economic leverage of individual employees. A better tool allowed a human worker to produce more valuable output. But the shift toward commodity cognition operates on an entirely different scale. Look at the transformation occurring inside Coinbase to understand the threat. In February 2026, 40% of Coinbase's internal code was AI-assisted. By June, that figure had skyrocketed to 95%. A single engineer no longer simply writes code with the help of a chatbot. Instead, they orchestrate between 5 and 10 autonomous software agents simultaneously. These agents operate in parallel, executing complex multi-step digital workflows. They diagnose bugs, write tests, draft documentation, and deploy software updates. This setup effectively turns one human developer into a manager of virtual workers. According to internal company metrics, these active agents do considerable work. They handle the equivalent daily workload of 1,200 human employees, and Coinbase plans to scale this virtual workforce rapidly in the future. By the year 2030, they expect their agents to do heavy workloads. The company projects these systems will perform a massive amount of labor. They expect the agents to handle the equivalent of 100,000 people. This represents an astonishing contraction of human hiring requirements, when the raw intelligence needed to power these agents cost next to nothing. The traditional corporate incentive to hire junior knowledge workers completely disappears. Why pay an entry-level salary to a human assistant who works slowly, especially when you can run 10 virtual agents for pennies an hour? This creates a bottleneck for the next generation of white-collar professionals. The entry points into industries like software engineering are rapidly vanishing. If a junior worker cannot gain experience, they cannot become senior managers. And the financial rewards of this automation are not distributed evenly. They do not go to the human engineers who are now more productive. They do not go to the creators of the commodity models either. Instead, the wealth concentrates in the hands of the platform owners. It belongs to the companies that own the proprietary operational databases. It belongs to those who control the custom integrations and the workflows. If your primary career value is executing a standard digital workflow, your role is currently being targeted for rapid and complete automation. The software to replace you is already sitting on a server. It is highly capable, incredibly fast, and completely free to download. The walls built to guard frontier technology have finally come down. The race to build the most expensive brain is effectively over, and the only people left with leverage are those who own the workflow. Everyone else is simply waiting to be replaced by a free download.